Hello and welcome everybody to today's Hairfellas show. We are not live today. This is actually pre-recorded, but we have a special guest on. Her name is Tara Main. Franco, how is your day going first? And then we'll go to Tara.
It's great. Can't complain. I got to sleep in today. It's my day off. Day off from the salon and get to do this on a random day. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to have a conversation with Tara because I think she's going to bring a lot of knowledge to the young stylists and experienced stylists on what to expect with different aspects of the business. I'm going to let her kind of talk more about what she does, but I'm excited about this conversation because I wish I knew a lot more to what I should have known when I was a young stylist. And having conversations with Tara, it's opened my eyes to a lot of things that I was doing wrong as a salon owner in a way. So yeah, I'm excited to have a conversation with Tara.
Tara, welcome to the show. Tell us about you and what you're up to.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Unlike Franco, I did not get to sleep in today. My 5-year-old is an extremely early riser. So I've been going for a while here. And I appreciate you guys having me on. I am the owner of Salon Skipper, and some of you may not know what that is, but it's actually an online self-directed coaching platform for anyone in the business of beauty. I do also host a blog, and I do have free ebooks, as well as I do one-on-one coaching, mostly with salon and spa business owners.
So how did you get into the industry? What's your story? What's your hairdressing story?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've actually been hairdressing.
that story, right? See her eyes, Franco? She was thinking something. We want to know about that.
Because it's been more than half my life now. I've been in the industry for 26 years, actually, this year. And I started when I was 18. Thank you. You know what's been so great about it is that it's been a career in which I've been able to explore lots of different facets of the industry. I'm someone who gets bored really easily. So, I started apprenticing at 18, and throughout the years, I've done everything from managing a large salon and spa, leading apprenticeship programs. I was the director of cosmetology at hairdressing school. I am now, I actually own my own salon as well. And I've been in sales. I actually was a director or a sales manager for distributors and master importers. And then I started doing business coaching because I love the business behind it all. And I love the fact that I've been able to see this industry through the eyes of absolutely everyone who could possibly work in it. So I just wanted to share my knowledge. And so I think about, it's been 10 years that I've been coaching now. So my platform has morphed a little bit. I used to do a lot more one-on-one, and I do go into salons and do seminars. But what I did was I decided that I was going to put it all into one package and put it online so that salon and spa business owners, or even new stylists, or anyone thinking about getting into the industry, could have everything just at the tip of their fingers and have it directed in a way that they could learn at their own pace.
So that's what Salon Skipper is. It's a software that allows you to build your salon business through software.
Yeah, well, it's not a software; it's a package. So basically, the things that I talk about, like the reporting, the numbers, the goals, the benchmarks for the industry, all of those you should be able to track and take from your specific salon software program. What my coaching package is everything from team manual. So it's basically our program. We're able to ask you questions, you answer the questions, and everything gets instantly populated into your own personalized, customized team manual. And it's all editable as well. So you can go in and make changes at any time. I also have a budget template. So you can go in and put all your numbers in in, and it will automatically calculate your profit and loss. It also has all different types of forms for team reviews, written warnings, for example, secret shopper surveys. And it's also got a plethora of videos that teach you everything from marketing your business to the goals for best practice. We carry on to retail and merchandising and even leadership. So it basically it encompasses everything you need to know about running your business and implementing systems and strategies to do so.
Even nasty customers?
Pardon me?
Even nasty customers, how to deal with a nasty customer?
There might be a little bit in there about how to deal with nasty customers, yes. Hopefully we don't have too many of those, though.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully they stay down south.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think the most important thing that I want to just touch on is, for me, it was I being in the industry, I worked with coaches, and I mean, realistically, only 5% of salons in North America are profiting. So by the time a salon or spa business owner realizes that they need help, often they don't have the money to look for it. And typically, business coaches are very expensive. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make this accessible to everybody. So my program is super affordable.
Wow.
Awesome.
Do you have a particular number or a percentage as to what the average you can increase with this program?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I just by implementing some of the retail strategies, I've seen some of my coaching clients increase their retail sales by 54+%.
Wow.
So, I mean, even if it just out of this, I mean, I've worked with about 300 salon and spa business owners, and out of every single person I've worked with, unfortunately, not one of them even had a budget. So the minute you have a budget and you can see on paper what it is you need to actually bring in every month to keep your business afloat, and what is going out and what expenses you might need to control, I mean, right then and there. I mean, the salon that I own, I took it from bankrupt to breaking even in 30 days just by following my own systems. So, I mean, it's doable, but you have to put the work in. Well, thank you. Yeah, that was, I mean, I didn't have the money to take this salon over, so I had to do it.
It had to work out.
Yeah.
It had to work out. Yeah.
I feel like I can keep asking questions, but I'll let Franco ask them because I know he's eager. I can see his face right now.
No, I'm happy to be watching, but you know what, for me, what introduced me to you was a little bit of several different types of conversations, but it was mostly based around contracted employment. And I think there's a lot of confusion, especially in the BC market, about, you know, the difference between contracted employee, chair rental, and, you know, a lot of people debate between, should I be a commission stylist? Should I be a chair renter? Red flags. You know, can you share a little bit of some experience or knowledge about the variety? I know it's a big question to ask, but
Sure.
Just some clarity for the young stylists, but also experienced stylists right now that are looking at their situation and like, what do I do? How do I make more money?
Yeah, well, I mean, realistically, nobody should be moving out of an employee-employer situation until you are consistently at least 85% booked. And even then, I mean, an employer-employee relationship is great for so many things. I mean, every single, whether you're an employee or a contractor or a chair renter, I mean, it's really depends on the type of person you are and how much you want to put into growing your business and growing your career. There are a lot of different indicators between an employer versus an employee relationship. I think what's most important to note, even as a new stylist, is that coming straight out of hairdressing school and going into a chair rental situation is usually not your best bet. Most salon and spa business owners, even that I've met, are creatives, and even they have a difficult time running their business. So when you become a chair renter or even a contracted employee, you're essentially your own business. So you're taking care of everything from the marketing to the GST remittances, which a lot of people don't even know exist.
What's the success rate on something like that? If we were to put a number out there, a brand new stylist, fresh out of school, goes and rents a chair. What is the success rate for them to actually make it? It's probably pretty low.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, look at what the chair rental rates are. I mean, right out of the bat, you're going to have, let's start with like $1,500 just to rent the chair. Now, are you going to make $1,500 that month just to cover your chair rental? Probably not if you don't have a clientele yet. And that's just chair rental. You still have to buy all of your products, do marketing to start gaining an attraction of clients. You're still probably paying off school. So yeah, I would say, I mean, I don't have an exact number, but I'd say very, very, very low, unless I've seen a little bit of success come out of somebody who might have a salon set up in their home.
Yeah. Or day rates. I've heard a lot of chair rental salons offering day rates to allow somebody to slowly step into that. But even day rates, I feel like if you're not busy enough to fulfill that day, you're going to try to move your clientele. So it's like you're not even giving yourself an opportunity to be a fully booked stylist with day rate because you're never committing to a full schedule. So your clients are constantly, working around this movable schedule. I find it's very difficult to build. I think it would be very small, like coming out of hair school, in my opinion, would be like maybe 2% of the stylists becoming chair renters right out of hair school are going to be successful in the first like 4 years. Because I don't know, Tara, how long did it take you to build your clientele right out of hair school? I know it was a while back, but 3 years?
I mean, at least a year. And that was working in a salon that was busy and that there was a lot of walk-by traffic. So I was given the walk-by traffic and camaraderie too. I mean, that's something you really miss as a chair renter. And when you're a brand new stylist coming out of school, you need support and camaraderie. When everybody's running their own business in a salon, or even if you're in a home salon, who do you even bounce these questions off of that you must have as a brand new stylist? You've just learned the basics.
Even as a salon owner, I felt it was difficult to ask questions at one point because I was like, oh my God, I run my own business and I have questions to ask my stylist. And it's like you have to have the ability to like humble yourself and have that guidance. But if you don't have the support and that, the collaboration or whatever, yeah, it's difficult. You're shooting yourself in the foot, no mentorship, nothing.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, realistically, a brand new stylist is going to go into an employee relationship. Once you get to the point where, and I don't necessarily want to, the thing is that I also have loyalty to salon owners. Being a salon owner myself, I know how hard it is to build up a new stylist. And how much you invest in that new stylist and how money-wise and time-wise and patience-wise even. And to then have one of your stylists, almost use your salon to build themselves up and then leave to go rent a chair somewhere is definitely...
That doesn't happen, does it? No.
Never. I mean, in my salon, to be honest with you, I actually offer opportunities for people to move into a different sort of position because I generally at that point, I want to keep them in our salon. They've become part of our family.
Well, I think that's where you and I connected really quickly once we started chatting is that we both have a very similar way of growing, the team into that position because, they're going to want it. We're artistic people.
If you're hiring the right people that are career minded and goal oriented and real driven, they're going to get to that point where they're going to say, I'm going to be able to make more money if I work for myself. Now, realistically, there's also a ton of expenses that go along with that.
Yeah. People don't realize it's only like 10% more if they're not hustling at every dollar and realizing it, right? It's not big. They think it's like, well, I'm going from 50% to 100%. It's like, whoa. No, you still have 40% expenses.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Minimum.
If not even more. I mean, there's things that chair renters don't even think about. They need insurance for one. I mean, insurance is a huge expense. Even the bookkeeping. I mean, the time that they'll put into their own bookkeeping, they might decide to just hire a bookkeeper. I mean, that's another
$250 a month usually. Bookkeepers are running around $200 to $300 a month to do bookkeeping. Yeah.
So I mean, there's tons of expenses at a chair renter. You know, until you go into that business mode, you wouldn't even realize that there's certain expenses that are involved in that. So, I mean, what was your original question? I kind of forget. Yeah, just that there are different business models. Salon owners sometimes will have either you're a commission stylist, you could be paid by the hour. Some salons you could be an independent contractor, which means that you're still independent, but instead of renting a chair, you actually receive a commission on your services as opposed to renting a chair. And then there's a chair renter, which is basically you're just your own entity. And you're just working under the umbrella of a salon. So those are pretty much the three different types of business models we see. And then salon owners will either say, we don't have chair renters in our salon. Some salons may be fully chair rental, and some may be a hybrid of all three, which your salon and my salon are. So,
Terenzio, you look like you had to say something.
I was going to say, well, it had me thinking why. So there is situations where a stylist is in school and they ended up getting out, and then they start working for a salon, and then they work for a salon, and then they build up the clientele, like you said, Tara, and then they up and leave. So would that actually happen in a situation or a salon environment where the salon owner did things to make sure that they were happy and push them forward? Would that even happen? Does that still happen?
Yeah, I left.
Yeah. Okay.
I left a salon that I mean, the owner was fantastic. You know, I felt, I mean, I had, for me, myself, I just have a very entrepreneurial spirit, and I needed to do something for myself.
But you're entrepreneurial. There's a lot of stylists out there that would just, you know, they would rather do something else with their time, just because there's not very many people that would actually want to do that. So it's interesting when you think about it, but I get your point.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there are, no matter how, I mean, there's salon owners out there that have just that are beyond fantastic to their employees, but it doesn't mean they're going to stay. You know, if I don't know, there's always a bright, shiny object out there somewhere that'll attract somebody, no matter.
And when somebody wants something and they think it's going to be better, it's very difficult to say, hey, you're not ready yet. You know, I've helped build somebody and they asked for a position, and I was like, you know, like, you're almost there. It's just your numbers aren't hitting the target that it needs to. And because they were able to find something a little bit doable, they up and bounced on us. So it's like the temptation is always going to be there for us, because we are very artistic and we are very driven individuals, and we want the next best thing. Right? Like, we want to gain, we want to grow, it's our business right away, right? It's like, I remember as a young stylist, I did like a client's hair once or twice, and all of a sudden that client became my client, but it was actually like my boss's client that she was giving me to do. And then it's like, oh, my client. And it's like, well, no, it's not your client yet. They're not requesting for you. They're asking to see anyone. So yeah. It's hard. One thing that you touched base on was, with commission stylists, I've been hearing a lot of salons doing like a 3-month hourly, like beginning, and then right after 3 months, they're straight commission. And it really scares me, because like, I never had that. I was always paid hourly until I hit commission, but right. It was like, I heard that it was like, there's some salons that are just fully commission after 3 months. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. Is this something that is like a good practice? Is this something that is legal? Like, it's
not legal, Franco.
It's not, right?
No, you have to.
I didn't think it was.
No, and I've seen that out there. Basically, you have to be paid a minimum of minimum wage.
Yes.
So, and basically any employer can send you home after 2 hours now. So it used to be a minimum of 4 hours you had to be paid for if you were called into work. Now it's a minimum of 2. So in this industry, we know if you're not helping to build your own clientele in any way, shape, or form, you may get sent home. I mean, especially now, we don't have walk-by traffic. We're in a pandemic. So, but there is no going to straight commission. You are either paid a minimum of minimum wage per hour that you are at work, or commission if your commission works out to be higher.
Thank you for clarifying that, because it really it hurts me when I hear stylists telling me, oh yeah, this salon that I worked at, after 3 months, I was making commission, so I was barely able to feed myself, so I had to hustle. And I'm like, that's great that you were able to build up the courage to hustle and all that, knowledge. But it's like, it ruins our industry, I feel like. It makes people not even want to do hair, because it's like, screw this, right? Like, yeah. I'm not even being supported to grow my business. I'm not being supported to even come to work. I hear a lot of stories. There are a lot of salon owners who really just don't know what they're doing. And I mean, I just most recently, somebody hired me for a coaching call to actually speak with them from an employee point of view. The salon owners were switching them over to renters. And unfortunately, the salon owners had absolutely no clue about the let's call it legislation that goes along with having chair rental employees. And unless the actual owner of the salon comes to me, my hands are tied. I can't call them up and say, hey, you're doing everything wrong. So this employee turned chair renter had to go to them and say, hey, these are the things you're doing wrong. And I said, either they're going to accept that and change, or they're not, and you're going to have to leave because you're not protected in these circumstances. Which may bring us into, you wanted to talk a bit about agreements. Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, when we look at the different types of employer, employee, or renter/landlord relationship, because really the salon owner becomes a landlord at that point. Yep. In any case, it is important to have some sort of agreement. Now, with an employer-employee situation, you should most definitely have a team manual, and your team manual is going to become more of your agreement. So these are all the systems and strategies we have in the salon. These are all the protocols and procedures, and I, as an employee, agree to adhere to all of this. And that also protects the employee, because it outlines things like what your holiday pay should be, what your actual pay should be, and makes sure that you're covered in situations like that. Like, you will be paid minimum wage or commission, the higher of the two. Let's
just touch base on that. Hairstylists, yes, you heard right. You do get paid holiday pay. It's sometimes a percentage, like 4%, 3% is the average. Anything above, gravy. Anything below, not so gravy. Like, you're entitled to holiday pay.
Why do you say that, Franco?
Because as a salon owner, I didn't know that my staff was supposed to get holiday pay until I made an agreement and I hired somebody to help me, strengthen and structure my business. And they were like, yo, you're not paying your staff holiday pay. And I was just like, oh, so we had to go back and adjust and do all these changes. So everyone is entitled to it. It's not rocket science. It's just like you said, so stylists don't know how to run a salon until they start running a salon, because we're not taught things like this in school. A chef, I always compare it to chefs, but a chef, when they go to school to get their certification or licensing, they're taught how to build a menu, how to run a restaurant to a certain standard, and all these different things. They're taught these things. Hairdressers aren't. We're not really taught these things. So as a salon owner, I was devastated when I found out that I wasn't doing the right things. I wanted to do the right things. I tried to do the right things, but I didn't have the time, or didn't make the time to research. So
look what you did, Tara.
Well, yeah, there are employee standards, they're called.
Yeah, right? Employee standards. I didn't think of looking them up, right? Like, it's just stupidity. You look back, 8 years later, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm an asshole.
Well, and then you end up getting dinged for it, right? I mean, there's been a lot of salon owners that didn't know. For example, a huge one is that salon owners are responsible for remitting EI for chair renters. I mean, nobody knows about this because chair renters are self-employed. They should be able to enter into an agreement to pay EI or not on their own. But there's when it comes to hairdressers, barbers, and taxi drivers, there's a very gray area, and they actually are looked at as being employees in that case, even though they're renting from you, and we need to collect and remit EI on their behalf. So there's a lot of things, and some salons have actually been dinged for this big time and owed thousands of dollars to the CRA. Yeah. Tens of thousands. Yeah.
I've heard backtracks of like 10 years.
But a salon owner typically, I'm hiring renters. They wouldn't know this unless maybe they consult with a professional who can help them make sure that they're addressing every aspect of the business so that they are doing things properly when it comes to employment standards and CRA regulation.
Well said. Well done. Look at this. We're learning so much.
Well, and when it comes to agreements, I mean, Franco, you and I saw it, and I'm going to touch on this because honestly, I'm still bothered by it. Yeah. When the pandemic struck and we were forced to shut down, there was a lot of back and forth on the hairdressing pages coming from chair renters.
Yes, it was.
How they felt that they were not responsible for paying their rent because the salon was closed. This really struck a chord in me, and I'm sure almost every other salon owner who's a chair rental salon, because I felt, okay, so you want to have your own business. You want to do everything that you want to do. You want to have control of your business. You want to come and go as you please. You want to collect all the money. You want to make more money. You want to have vacations whenever you want to have vacations and basically run your own business. But when it comes to when shit hits the fan, sorry, am I allowed to say shit on here?
Yes.
Okay.
You say what you want to say.
You're now going to now all of a sudden you're no longer a business owner and you're not responsible for paying your rent.
But you can collect your EI. But you can collect your EI.
Yeah, but you can collect your EI, and this is the thing. It's like as a salon owner, our insurance did not cover that closure. There's something called a force majeure, which is like an act of God, okay, let's just say. And if your hot water tank didn't explode and you don't have a flood in your salon, something like that that forced the salon closure, your insurance is not going to cover you. So us as the salon owners were still on the hook until we found out about rent relief or anything for paying our landlords our rent. And so this is when it became so clear to me that so many of these chair rental salons need to have agreements in place, because in this case, yes, as a chair renter, you are still responsible for paying your rent.
But are these stylists that were going through the CERB? And because I know there was the rent protection, was there something that they were thinking of? Or are these stylists, are these chair renters that just expected to not have to pay? Or was it both?
No,
chair renters.
Chair renters didn't expect to pay.
Yeah, they were just saying we shouldn't have to pay. The salon's closed. We can't go in there and perform our services. Yeah. Well, it wasn't my fault as
not all
I
chair
didn't want to
renters.
close.
Not all chair renters. There was some chair renters. Yeah. Just to clarify.
There were some chair renters that definitely spoke up and said, of course, this is your business. You're responsible just as the owner is responsible.
And I'm sure there was chair renters that did pay and obviously did the business. Yeah.
And as a salon owner, there are also salon owners who did not end up charging their staff or their renters. And the reason for that was because we ended up coming out okay. We were able to, our landlord was amazing. They applied for the rent relief. We were able to get the government, loan, which part of that is forgivable. And we said, you know what, for what it's worth, our chair renter she's clear. She's free and clear, because we passed on what was given to us.
Yeah. But there was also a lot of salon owners that felt like their backs were against the wall that said, hey, you don't have to pay your rent because their backs were against the wall and they didn't really have any other way out, because during the pandemic, people were saying, hey, we have chairs available when we reopen. Let us know if you're not able to go back to your salon and this and that.
Yeah.
And I understand it's like you're just advertising to help people, but helping and, you know, there's a fine line to helping in a situation like that. And it exposes the weak part of the industry and the lack of readiness and savings and everything, because they're not most chair renters aren't earning enough to be chair renters. They're earning enough to have a lifestyle as a chair renter. You know, if you're not saving at least 10% of what you're earning, you're not actually moving forward. You're better off paying a T4. So then you're actually able to save off of, getting paid a T4. You know, like you got to be making enough money to be a chair renter and save for rainy days.
Yeah. Well, devil's advocate, there are probably some stylists out there that that's how they want to live their life, and all the power to them.
But even with agreements in place, I never had an act of God portion in my agreement. If, you know, like you said, shit hits the fan, you know, you're expected to kind of step up and be supportive. Chair rental salon owners have supported their businesses, like the individual businesses, so much by allowing them to make as much profitability as they can every day they come into the salon, with no expectations, no, you know, never holding them back. And then, you know, the one time we turned around and being like, hey, we need your help, it's like, boom.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's funny because, I mean, this is obviously exposed so many weaknesses in the industry, you know, like, I mean, primarily being that most salon owners, I mean, like I said before, 5% are profiting. Okay. 15% are breaking even. The rest are actually in debt. So you go into something like this and you are not prepared and you're not profiting and you're not even breaking even. I mean, all this right away, you've just, and I mean, I feel for all of the owners of salons whose landlords didn't apply for the relief or what have you, right? You know, it's just been a complete show. But I mean, realistically, we need to really bring clarity around what is expected of chair rental situation. And now we've really seen that we need to bring clarity around that and what the importance of having an agreement is, just through seeing what happened with the pandemic. And I mean, even it protects everybody, right? It even protects the chair renter to know that the EI is going to be remitted on your behalf, or these are the things that are included in your rent. You can expect that the salon owner is going to maintain that salon impeccably, that there are going to be protocols and procedures to make sure that at this time, especially, that the salon is kept safe and sanitized, you know, things like that. You want to know that where you're paying your rent is also keeping up their end of the bargain.
100%.
So I mean, that's one thing that I do a lot of right now. A lot of people are reaching out saying, you know what, I need agreements because I never even had one. Like who gives who notice? You know, if somebody wants to leave a chair rental situation, how much notice do you give? What if you want to increase? I have people reaching out saying, how often is a salon owner allowed to increase the rent and how much are they allowed to increase it by? You know what? We don't have any legislation around that. Nope. You do when you're renting a home, but we don't have any legislation around that. A salon owner can increase the rent whenever they want by as much as they want to.
As long as that's
why you have an agreement. Pardon me?
As long as they're willing to pay.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why you have an agreement, because that will outline in the agreement what is acceptable.
Yes, true. Very, very true.
So,
how much has your program changed with this new situation, with this pandemic? Have you altered a few things? I would assume that there's some things that aren't the same, of course, to get better results or the same results.
The actual program, everything in the program is still applicable. There's not really anything that needed to be changed.
Oh, okay.
What will need, because things like agreements, I don't have on there because they're so specific to each salon. So the coaching program itself is besides the things that you can customize, like the employee manual, the budget spreadsheet, a marketing and promotions calendar. Besides that, things like agreements are things that I do a la carte, because they are more, they're not as generic. They're more specific.
So customized to each individual.
Exactly. Yeah. But realistically, I mean, you should be going forward with business as close to normal as you can. You still need to be putting money into marketing. You still need to be making sure you have a budget, if not even more now, because we've had to decrease our capacity. And so now, I mean, the only way people were like, well, should I raise my prices? Well, I mean, I was like, yes, because you're decreasing your capacity, but your bills are essentially staying the same. So what we need to do is we need to then look at our budget and say, okay, this is what we're bringing in. This is what we need to bring in. How much is this going to drop now that our walk by traffic has reduced by 95%. We've had to at first eliminate 2 chairs. Then we made some adjustments to bring back another, but we're still down a chair. So yeah, you unless you're working with a budget and things like that, you don't even know what to do in a situation like this. But everything, when it comes to the systems and the strategies for your salon, they stay the same. You still need to be working on aiming for growth, if not for at least maintaining where you're at, because you have to be paying your bills.
Yeah. You have to, if you're not paying your bills, it's going to be a stressful month to month that you go to, right?
Do you have a price range that we could talk about? Like, is there starting
for her services,
medium, top of the line, premium package? Yeah, for services.
Oh, for my stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Salon Skipper.
Oh, well, the actual full-on package that has got all the videos and all the templates, basically everything you need to really run your business that's not super specific like agreements, is $597. So, really reasonable. A set of 2 highlights, very reasonable, I think, because people are paying thousands of dollars for this type of coaching.
I've heard of people paying thousands of dollars for people to coach them outside of this industry. I'm like, you're getting a coach outside of the industry to coach you and you're paying them $2,500.
Oh, really?
Like, why?
Yeah.
Well, because they think business is business, but salon business is very specific.
Oh, so specific. I know accountants that don't even know about the EI for chair renters.
CRA doesn't even know. Every time my accountant calls the CRA, they're like, "What are you talking about? They're independents. They're not employees." And they're like, "No, EI." And the CRA is telling my accountant and us and my stylist, "No, you're not supposed to be paying EI." But then, it's
great. Thank you, Franco. Now the algorithm is going to pick up the whole accounting thing, and now we're going to get called and audited. No, I'm kidding.
No, if anything, I would be, but I'm fine. I do everything by the book.
That's why you have me on here. We're above board, right?
Exactly.
Which is so important. I also have 2 ebooks. One's free, one's $7, I think. $7, I think, about attracting new clients and with little or no money. So, how to attract new clients without having to spend a lot of money doing so. That's what I had to do. I didn't have a lot of money. I know what I should invest in my marketing. But when I first took over this salon, I didn't have a lot of money behind me. So how do I attract new clients in a real cheap way? So that's what my first ebook is about. And then the second one is how to keep them coming back, because the only way to really make money in this industry is to keep your clients coming back and to keep them spending more money. So especially if you're spending a fortune on your marketing, if you don't have those clients coming back, that's just a complete waste.
That's a good point. That's a very good point that I think a lot of people don't really focus on is it's one thing getting them the first time in the door, but it's the repeat, constantly getting them back to think of you and for them to start thinking about talking about you to their friends. Make your clients that love you work for you.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a great, the books and the package, I mean, the videos and the books are great for new stylists too. Like I encourage any salon owner who purchases the package to share all the videos with their staff.
Good point.
You know, to do coaching with their staff and share the videos, because it teaches them how to build their own business behind the chair. You know,
that's awesome.
And then, of course, the blog is there as well. And I cover a lot of different topics.
And that's nice because that's like a quick tool when you just like have some time, like a 5-minute quick read. Yeah, it's great. If we were to speak to young stylists right now coming into the industry, they've been in the industry for about 6 months to a year, and they're kind of, now they've watched this and they're like, oh my gosh, what did I sign? Or what should I keep an eye out for when I sign? Do you have any red flags that you've seen consistently that young hairstylists and barbers and estheticians should watch out for when they're reading their agreements and contracts and everything?
Well, first of all, they need to make sure that they're joining a salon that actually has some sort of policies and procedures manual, because then you know right away that the owner actually is invested in their business and doing business properly. You want to make sure you're looking for a salon that offers support. So, but not only with skill building. I think a lot of young stylists, when they come out of the school, they're looking for salons that offer education. I want education, which is great, but you need more than just skills in this business. You need to understand the business. So you want to look for a salon owner that actually is running their salon as a business and will help you to grow yours. Because a lot of the time you're just thrown in kind of, and that's another thing, one that isn't just going to throw you in behind the chair right away, you know, that's going to take some time to actually mentor you and guide you and teach you a bit more than just the basics that you're coming into the salon with. Unless, of course, I mean, we had a stylist at one point that came out of school and she was just fantastic, you know, I mean, that happened. So a natural. So, I mean, by all means, get behind that chair, you know, but we also did reviews, you know, we talk about the numbers like this, you know, and a stylist or salon owner should actually understand the numbers. Like, what does somebody need to do? What are the goals to reach for actually growing your business, so that we know you're working towards being fully booked, so that we know that you're selling retail, which directly affects your retention. So we know what your retention actually is. You know, there's a lot of new stylists out there that don't even know, like, well, how many new clients have I seen? How many have come back to me? Is that good?
Yeah, take inventory. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, and the software does it for you often, and it's just using the software properly. It's very, you know, important to use software, the tools in general that we have. Like every software that I've used now has the opportunity to show that if it's a walk-in client or a new request or a repeat request. And even with the one that we use, Vigaro, it shows that even if it's a person that is usually coming to the salon that sees anybody, we have a set one for that. So we know they're a person that comes to the salon that just sees whoever is in there, always a different person. So there is the tools. It's not rocket science. It's not, you know, you have the tools. It's just, like you said, allowing your staff to know that these tools are available and taking the time to sit with them. And I'm guilty of it. You know, I need to sit down with my in-house stylist and crush some more numbers with them. You know, now it's, you know, the last 4 months. So now we actually have some data of what it's going to look like. Because, you know, June 1st was Christmas, you know, and then we hit August and it was like February. So now we're starting to see that nice consistency in the salon world, right?
Yeah. Wow. And I think what I call it open book management, you know, to actually, like, you as a team member, I always wanted to feel like I was an integral part of the business, you know, and as a salon owner, if you make your team feel like they are an integral part of the business, you're more likely to have them really start to participate in the growth of it. And so, you want to share numbers and even so, I mean, a lot of salon owners are able to pull the numbers, but they don't actually understand what the numbers mean. You see, oh, okay, I've got 47% new client retention. Is that good? Is that not good? And it's almost impossible to find what the goals for best practice are in this industry too. So obviously I share all that in my coaching package and everything, and with anybody I do one-on-one coaching with, because it's so important. And so a new stylist needs to make sure that they're looking for a salon that is going to give them this kind of support. And if they are not seeing this kind of support within the first 3 months, I would call that a red flag.
I feel like we could talk about this forever. There's so much information. Sarah, you are such a wealth full of information. It's,
yes.
Thank you.
I can see why you're so successful. It's already at 45 minutes. I have some other stuff to go, but this is such a great interview.
We'll have to have a part 2 then. That means,
I would love that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, if anybody watching this has any questions, comments, concerns, anything they want to ask Tara, please put them in the comments below. I'm sure this conversation stirred up some questions out there. If they're good, if they're bad, if they're indifferent, I think there's still great things to ask because we don't know what other people are thinking out there. So please.
And we don't know your situation. Exactly. We don't know your individual situation. Like we've talked about this whole hour, every salon has such a different standard because we have no standards. So if you're feeling abused or disconnected and what we're talking about either doesn't sound like your situation and it feels weird, or you are in that situation and it feels weird, it's probably because it's weird and it's not right.
That's weird.
So,
Yeah, that is so important. We are deregulated in BC, and a lot of provinces throughout Canada are deregulated. And so, like you said, there are no standards.
Yeah. So it's up to you to create your standard as a stylist, as a business owner, as a chair renter, but it's also the communication within, the conversation has to happen. So thank you again, Tara, for being so open to the conversation and diving into so many different things and, unscripted as well. I think it just shows that this show is more about finding the real things that are going on instead of just having something that sounds good. So thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me. I so appreciate it, and I'm super flattered that you asked. So thank you.
Okay. Thanks for watching today's show. My name is Terenzio.
I'm Franco.
And we have Tara up. No, she's down there. There she is.
She's right there.
Tara Main, thanks so much for coming on with us. And today was great information. And we will talk to you again.
Have a great day.
Bye.